Good morning. I've got my breakfast coffee here, and I'm going to fulfill a request from the channel. A few weeks ago, Connor Bryce asked me to make a breakfast casserole for him, so here we go. We're going to quickly mix up some eggs, throw in some meat, and I'll give you some other options to put in there, and then we will bake this. It's a very simple breakfast casserole. You need a little bit of time for the baking, but that's it. So let's start by throwing in a bunch of eggs. I like to do 2 to 3 eggs per person. We have 3 people today, so we're doing 9 eggs for this casserole. This is kind of the equivalent of an omelet, but this is the simpler baked version. Today, we're going to also put goat cheese in our omelet. And again, I will give you alternatives to that. Of course, you can put whatever cheese you want in, but you want a good melting cheese. You want a cheese that's going to mix throughout the entire dish. So you can use cheddar. I have used mozzarella. I'm not too satisfied with the texture it brings. It makes it stringy, of course. And it also doesn't seem to impart any flavor, so a stronger cheese is really important in this dish. All right, so here we have our 9 eggs in a bowl, and I'm just going to quickly whip these up, making sure to break all the yolks. Another method you could use is separate these and whip up the whites to froth. It makes it a little lighter, but again, this is something I'm doing quickly, and I didn't have time to break up the whites and yolks, and I like my egg to be somewhat eggy, not airy. If I was making a souffle, I would definitely break up the yolks, or break out the whites and fluff them out, but this is not a souffle, this is a casserole. All right. So, I am just feeling my way through this with the whisk, and I'm seeing that the resistance is even throughout. So for example, on the edges there still seems to be some white that's not into the yolk, so I'm pulling it into the middle with the whisk. And now I'm just beating this a bit. And beating, so previously I had my whisk and I was stirring and pulling in. Now I'm just up and down in the center and on the edges. And there we go. I've got some nice air in this bowl of eggs. All right? And we're going to now assemble our casserole. Here I have some pre-browned bacon, and I am crumbling it up. I was told that last time I made this I didn't make the pieces of bacon small enough, so I'm doing my best to make these smaller. Just tearing it apart. Little tiny pieces of bacon. And you want this in the bottom of the pan. And then what you're going to do is you're going to stir it up into the eggs. A lot of stirring in this dish and mixing, and all right. And today I'm using turkey bacon because it cooks faster and it tastes good. The one we're using is a fairly nice one. Not every turkey bacon we've had we like, but go ahead and try a couple of brands and see which one you like. And now here I have a pan of pre-browned sausage meat, and I'm going to just pour that in here, making sure to break those pieces up. Oh, I hope the pan I chose is big enough here. Okay. Let's see here. I'll put that pan back. Just going to break these pieces of bacon or sausage up with my hand as well, because some of these are very large. All right, and now I'm going to just remove my whisk there and grab our bowl and pour these eggs in. Sorry, I should be showing you that. Just pouring the eggs in on top. And I'm just going to take my hand now and make sure that the bacon and sausage are well mixed. Oop, just knocked a piece out of the bowl. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, now our final step. I am opening up a package here of goat cheese. This is a creamy goat cheese. And all I'm going to do is just take little chunks of it here and place them on top, and then I will mix them in. Again, you could use cheddar, you could use Jack, does really good. The last time I made this with a pepper jack, which was quite delicious. Some of the other things you could put in peppers, you could put in mushrooms. Sadly, I didn't have any of those things this morning, so green onion, or, well, any kind of onion really. And you want quite a bit of cheese. I'm going to use about half of the stick here. And then I'll garnish this before serving it with the other half. So I'm just breaking up these chunks a little more here. And now I'm just going to take my hand and mix them in. Make sure they go throughout the entire casserole. You don't want these sitting on top. If you were using a Jack or a cheddar, you could leave those on top for a bit of a crust, but you don't want to do that with the goat cheese. And by the way, nothing's saying that you only have to put one cheese in. You can put 3 cheeses in if you want. You don't have to put meat in. You could put just cheese in. Vegetarian casseroles work just great for a lot of people. So the thing you have to know about the meat is you should pre-cook the meat. It is really important to do that, because otherwise the texture of the meat is not the best. And I have a piece of tin foil. And I'm just going to cover the top of this. Just tighten it in, make it its own little tiny oven. Stick it in the oven and we'll be back. Hi, so here we have our final casserole. I'm going to just show you how to check it. You're going to just tap it lightly and see if it jiggles. There's some soft spots here, but that's the cheese. It's going to be runnier in the center, so as long as that center is pretty solid, we're ready to go. This cooked for about 40 minutes at 425. You can cook it a little slower if you have a little bit more time. I'm just going to stick my spatula, run across the entire side of the pan. And I'm going to actually disconnect it from the pan at this edge here. I'm going to run along both edges like that. Okay. And I'm going to go back in on the cut I made there. That to feel with my fingers where it was. And we're going to just go underneath. Lever. Voila! Take a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to just take some of my goat cheese here. And put a big fresh blob on top there. Let's put another one there. Doesn't that look lovely? That fresh cheese is going to give it a cool extra taste. I hope you make this. Please let me know how it goes, and click subscribe, click the like button, and we'll see you next time.